Hot damn, looking kind of like your cute babysitter slash art teacher in 1987, but that's what we're going with tonight.
Bibliosophie.
Hello, hello. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. I'm Sophie. This is Bibliosophie. This is actually Sophie from the future, telling you what you're about to see. In short, I'm currently very busy, as I think a lot of people are at this time of the year. I'm in a couple of big singing projects, as well as preparing a bunch of other concerts for next month, and also in the midst of a bunch of coursework at school, term papers, articles, etc., etc. So I'm very overbooked, trying to juggle too many different schedules at once, and the result is that I don't have that much time to read, and also I feel really overwhelmed. So to distract myself from being overwhelmed, I did want to try to enjoy some things because it is a really beautiful season after all. I started filming some of my daily goings-on to try to trick myself into thinking that being busy is fun by making it aesthetic. I don't know if that's a super dark reaction, but it's what we're doing. Because I'm not reading very much, I'm actually listening to some audiobooks, so these are some various audiobooks that I read, have been reading, and some day-to-day footage. Voila, that's what she is. Let's go on this adventure. It is such a gorgeous day, friends. Right now I'm just on my porch. Is that what it's called? Balcony. I think it's called a balcony. But I did go to the real outside in the park, and that was a very good idea. I also just finished the audiobook of Jamaica Kincaid's Lucy, and I loved it. Alright, now I'm going to stop squinting in the sun. Howdy! I'm going to head off to class quite soon. I have, 5 minutes. But I wanted to check in about what I read recently or listened to. As I mentioned, I finished Lucy by Jamaica Kincaid. I really enjoyed it as an audiobook. It's really short. It's my first Jamaica Kincaid, and I'm glad I'm finally, getting into her stuff because I've been wanting to. It's been an oversight of mine. Fun fact, we share a birthday, May 25th. Also, fun fact, I'll put up the author headshot that is on her Wikipedia page because it really delights me, so I'll put it up on the screen. Yeah, Lucy, it's a coming-of-age novel in a lot of ways. She is a 19 and then by the end of the book 20-year-old coming from the West Indies to New York City and kind of surrounding rich person countryside. She's working as an au pair for a rich white family. It is about her creation of self, about the hypocrisy of situations. Lucy is a really fantastic main character because even though we see her mature, she's coming with a lot of maturity even at the beginning of the book. She has a fantastic voice, and Kincaid has a really lovely authorial voice through her. It is in many ways autobiographical, as I think a lot of her books are. And there's a tremendous already amount of maturity, sometimes disillusionment, but complexity and analysis of situations. This is definitely true in her analysis of the kind of hypocrisy and bullshit of being not white, both in the West Indies, but then in her surroundings in the United States. Early on, there's an entire theme of daffodils. Mariah, the woman that she works for, loves daffodils and wants to go show Lucy daffodils, which she's never seen, but Lucy also has terrible associations with the flower because she was forced to memorize and recite a poem that included daffodils in them. And so they represent this colonial thing that is unrelated to her actual life, and that she needs to take on as if it were, you know, everybody should know what daffodils are, that everybody should know a very Eurocentric view of flora and fauna and seasons, but it's not her actual experience in the West Indies. So already as a child she kind of renounced daffodils, and then upon seeing them she tells Mariah, just like, I have no interest in this flower. This flower is not magic to me. This flower is representative of something much larger. So she already has, from the beginning of the book and as a young person, a fierce knowledge of herself. She's a very headstrong character, and a lot of that plays out in her relationship to her mother. A good chunk of the book is really about mother-daughter relationships, how painful it is to be so close to someone and then feel that bond broken, to feel the need to break that bond. It's a recurring motif in so much of literature, for a good reason. It's such a complex and interesting and potentially troubling relationship. So that's a very kind of common theme, and then how that plays out with her relationship to the woman employing her and who's a mother of 4 children. In many ways, the evolution is also kind of an artistic one or an authorial one. This is not just a Bildungsroman, but it's also a book about learning kind of creative maturity, coming to terms and coming of age as a thinker and potentially as an artist. And in some ways the ultimate maturity of the book is sort of about softening. She's a really keen analyst of the world throughout, and a very independent one, but one who really keeps people at a distance. And kind of a fundamental realization by the end of the book is how much she wants to need people. She wants to love people and doesn't want to keep them outside of herself so much, which is a very heartbreaking and magical, simultaneously like wonderful and, you know, painful realization, I think. Yeah, I love it. Bye. Now I know how Joan of Arc felt. Now I know how Joan of Arc felt. This is the reason why my phone is busted, friends. Anyway, it is 10:30 on November 1st. Just got back from a rehearsal. Very tired, and there was some Halloween candy at the rehearsal, so I am going to taste a Reese's peanut butter cup for the first time in my life. I am not allergic to peanuts or anything. Peanut butter is a weird thing if you're not North American. Canadians, weigh in. Do you have peanut butter also? Is that a thing? But yeah. All right, we'll see. You know, I like it. I was terrified of peanut butter all my childhood. I thought it was a disgusting concept. I like it. Full.
Yeah, your guys' fall is superior. Hello.
Really, really beautiful. Like, pretty, like, postcard.
Very postcard.
It's a postcard.
I look like a hoodlum leather daddy.
You really do. Just lounging, just hanging out.
Just hanging out.
Piano. I mean, I still do play them, but piano was the one that I was always the most
sit down.
Server, come. Server, leave Linda alone now.
Both.
Best. Gotta.
Just like a dude on an acoustic guitar. It would have been cool.
And I
You have to keep walking.
I have to keep walking.
I mean, you don't have to.
should include all of it.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I'm including some of it at least.
And then I went to New Haven to see Rebecca,
Mm-hmm.
and I got, I was looking for To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf.
Mm-hmm.
We went to 3 different bookstores, and it wasn't until the last bookstore that they finally had it.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, I feel like I'm doing 75 questions with Will.
Yes.
Welcome to my home.
There's a little bit of that, yes.
so
Oh, except the
awkward.
camera work is terrible because I keep like dipping down.
It's okay. So then I got some other great Virginia Woolf because there was these amazing old paperbacks.
Hi friends, 'tis I. I haven't sat down to talk for a while. Haven't really felt the compulsion to, the brain power to. I'm not thriving, if we're gonna be perfectly honest. I am still too busy for my own good. I'm not quite as busy as I thought I was going to be, but now thinking back on what I was going to try to have to do this week, I don't even know how I was going to survive that. Anyway, we don't have to conjecture about that because one of my projects is happening later. But nonetheless, I'm not I'm not really rising to the occasion, and it's not just my perception of things. I don't feel that great about how I'm doing, but also I'm not meeting all of my deadlines. It's fine. We carry on. Yeah, I'm not feeling super good about myself in kind of a whole slew of ways. Is the too long didn't read version of that. But so it goes. Some updates. First of all, sort of life update, booktube community update. I met the one and only Lynn librarian, Julie. It was wonderful to meet her. She was on the East Coast for an extended weekend. We met up a few days ago, last Friday, for coffee and a park hang. And then she stayed with me for a night, Monday night a couple days ago, and it was wonderful. She is delightful. I am 100% unsurprised by this, but it was really nice to meet another booktuber. So yet another fantastic community member of this weird, lovely little community of people. Yeah, it's great to meet people, meet you all, because so far does not disappoint. On the reading side of things, I continue to basically only read audiobooks that are not assigned for my readings for coursework, and in fact, I'm not doing enough of my coursework reading either. That's one of the ways in which I'm failing. Over a week ago now, I finished Maggie Nelson's The Argonauts, and I figured I would talk about it for a hot second. This is a reread for me. I've been saying for a while that I should reread it, but finally did it for kind of a couple of reasons. Ben of Benjamin Journal and Renee of So I Read This Book recently read it, so I was kind of jealous, probably. And then Rebecca of Rebecca Eats Books recently reread it in a vlog. So I thought, okay, the universe is trying to tell me something. I listened to it as an audiobook. It was on Libby, so perfect. I enjoyed this book when I read it a few years ago a lot, and I recently recommended it in my list of books about writers and reading and translating. But I was, much like Rebecca mentioned in her vlog, kind of wary about how it would age for me. I'm happy to say that basically I still really enjoy it. It aged quite well. My concerns were similar to hers to Rebecca's in her vlog, and actually with a very similar kind of quotation in mind. She mentions Andrea Longchu's quip about Maggie Nelson building a career off of writing about somebody else's transition. And I, since reading the book, also read Andrea Longchu and kind of was like, how am I going to read The Argonauts now? Would I have a different vision of it? Largely, I mean, it's not necessarily for me to say whether or not Nelson has a right to talk about her partner's transition or not. But to me, it doesn't feel like she is telling a story that isn't her own. What is The Argonauts about? I didn't actually say this. This is Nelson's account of her pregnancy. It's basically a love letter to her partner, Harry. It is a love letter to her newborn child, and to herself, and to thinking, and it is an exploration of body in transition, her own, undergoing all the crazy aspects of what it means to be pregnant, but then also her partners and how those two transitions are mirrored, all of the different kind of hormonal changes that happen simultaneously for the two of them, and a book about a relationship to self as a changing thing, body as a changing thing, and love as a constantly changing, ever-evolving thing. Her relationship to her mind within her body, her body within her mind, to thought process, how to write about the body, how to write about thinking, how to write about love, and your body, others' bodies. Largely, it really still resonated with me. I think Nelson really does an impressive thing, and she really sticks the landing in so many ways. It's a really beautiful combination of academic thought, critical theory, and really heartfelt emotion. I will mention one other thing that Rebecca also mentioned in her video. I'd completely forgotten a whole little section at the end of the book in which Nelson talks about why she gave her son an indigenous name, and I had completely forgotten that. And that is weird. Yeah, I'm just not gonna comment on that. I'd completely forgotten that from my previous reading. Okay, I don't know. But largely, I'm happy to report that it's still a really successful book for me. So I was happy for that. All right, now I'm gonna go back to my class. I hear that people are talking again. I'm late.
You're currently on camera. If that is acceptable
And
too.
we staged it so that like she was.
This is for the vlog. You haven't made an appearance on the vlog in a while. Happy Sunday morning from my church gig. I've got my tea from home and also some coffee. That's the kind of morning it is. I'm taking a video right now, actually, of our monitor. Happy Monday. It's a gorgeous day outside. Very overwhelmed. Off to another rehearsal. Hello, I'm back. I have not talked to camera in, I think, exactly a week. It has been, a full 2.5 weeks since I started this vlog. You know, I think basically my November wrap-up is just going to be this vlog. Not much to report. Tonight is opening night of the opera that I'm singing in. My hair is too long, but the good news is I found this barrette from when I was fully a child, and that's bringing me some amount of joy. Books. I have been listening to the audiobook of Parallel Movement of the Hands. Movement or movements? She checks. Movement, I was right. This is a posthumously published collection of John Asbery unfinished longer works. I also have the library physical book, so I've been doing both. I really like John Asbery. He's a poet that I've been into for a good long while, and I'm really enjoying these longer works. There's a short foreword by Ben Lerner and a longer introduction by Emily Skillings. So it's really a lovely collection of stuff for me. It's interesting to listen to an audiobook of poetry because even though I'm constantly saying that a really good way to get into poetry is to read it aloud and consume it in words, to consume it in a couple of different ways, I actually have never, I think, listened to an audiobook of poetry. With Asbery, it's confusing and elucidating. His style is very obtuse, and there's always sort of a narrative to follow, but it's kind of impossible to follow sometimes, or maybe all the time, and it doesn't really necessarily matter. And so in some ways it can be difficult to just listen to it because I have an urge to reread the same lines over and over again to try to figure out where he's going, where he went. But at the same time, it's actually very freeing and I think very appropriate because I can sort of let the thoughts wash over me and the sounds, which are very masterful. You can hear how much he's influenced by the symbolists, I think, in listening to him, or at least I can especially. No, it's been a really interesting and chill experience for me. I'm listening to chunks at a time. I haven't even been listening to audiobooks really. I don't know what I've been doing with my intellectual life beyond what I need to be doing. I guess nothing. I'm just very much mush-brained when I'm not doing the work I need to be doing. So that's what that is. I also listened to the audiobook of another Jamaica Kincaid, A Small Place, which is a non-fiction shorty. It's under 100 pages in its physical form, about 2 hours as an audiobook. The audiobook is also read by Robin Miles, like Lucy was. And it is basically a very long-form essay about the disastrous effects of colonialism, imperialism, post-colonialism, capitalism on Antigua. It's in the second-person plural, which is interesting. It's addressed to sort of a hypothetical tourist who would be going to, you know, the beautiful islands to have a nice time. And in it, Kincaid describes the actual realities of what colonialism and imperialism have wrought. Hello friends, goodbye friends. I am going to wrap up this vlog. It has been very nearly 3 weeks since I started it, so let's call it. It has been a chaotic 3 weeks. Yeah, I don't know what to think of it in terms of my actual life or really of the resulting YouTube footage. Let me know, I don't know. Some future reading projects that I want to mention. I am hypothetically, ideally, going to read The Last Supper by Rachel Cusk. This is the Katie James Book Club book pick of the month. And I do hope that I'll actually pick it up, get some time to do so because it interests me definitely. And then I'm going to re-explore this classic, which I read when I was a teenager, Donna Tartt's The Secret History, that kind of urtext of dark academia for a lot of people. I'm going to be talking about it on December 4th with Jalen at the Bar in the Bookcase for his Reading the Room podcast. We're having a live discussion with CJ Reeds, Pato, and Anna Wallace Johnson. Then you should join us. Go to that channel for more information, time, and such. But I think it should be a just rollicking good time. All right, goodbye.